Hello and welcome to Dr. Shiny Tarot. This is a daily pick a card reading for December the 9th, which is Wednesday. The purpose of this reading is to give you a brief piece of advice or to help guide your overall focus for the day. If you're looking for a longer, more detailed reading, please check out my channel. I do many other readings, including monthly readings for each star sign, full moon readings, love readings, and other things like that. If you are new to pick a card readings, the way this works is that you will choose one of the three piles here and then click on the timestamp in the description to skip ahead to the reading that you've selected. Now, if you do feel compelled to choose more than one, that's totally cool. Please just follow your intuition here. There is likely to be some good advice in each reading, even if one pile is more specific to your circumstances. I also have added 3 crystals to aid your selection. And today they are red calcite. This is Onyx in the shape of a crow. And this is Celestite. So now I'm going to give you about 30 seconds of silence so that you can meditate if you want and get a choice in mind. And when you have your choice, go ahead and scroll down to the description and find the timestamp to skip ahead in the video. So we're going to go ahead and start the 30 seconds right now. Okay, so if you have not already done so, please go ahead and make your selection and then scroll down to the description to skip to whatever selection you have made. So we're going to go ahead and get started with pile number 1. Pile number 1 is the red calcite. So if you chose pile number 1, you have the King of Swords, crossed by the Five of Swords, and the Emperor is your advice card. All right, so the King of Swords is somebody who's very intelligent, very sharp, kind of an expert, very knowledgeable person. So I'm taking this to mean you, and you have been engaged in sort of a debate, a little bit of a fight or a disagreement in the realm of thought or ideas. So typically, this is not a situation that's very comfortable for the King of Swords to be in because he is skilled. He feels like he knows what's going on here. But the Five of Swords is this kind of like frustrated, almost like power struggle that goes on a lot of times between people who are competing for success or something like that. So it could be among you and a coworker or a peer of some kind, or maybe even a partner. So there's this kind of battle of ideas that's going on here, and a lot of times this ends up getting a little bit ugly. You end up walking away from the situation, saying some things that you didn't really mean, or feeling a little bit hurt, or hurting the other person, and feeling like you may need to, apologize or something like that to kind of like, heal the situation a little bit. So I think that what's probably going on here is that you're really convinced that you are right in this situation, and you have gone to a lot of lengths to defend your point of view, to defend your idea here. And it's not that you're necessarily even wrong in the situation, but it may be that you've kind of you care a little bit too much about being right in this situation. So you might want to ask yourself about, like, if you step back and say, okay, well, let's just allow the other person to think that they're right. Let's just not argue. Let's concede. what does that really do? Is it really going to do a lot of harm? And if you find that it won't, then it may be better to just sort of step back from this one and to maintain a better relationship with the people involved. Now, you may be in a situation where you're like, well, I know for a fact that if they go their way and they don't listen to me, they're going to fail. Again, ask yourself if that's a horrible thing. So people learn a lot through failure. So they may go through some hardship or something, but like, is it a mortal danger, or is it really just like they're going to waste a little bit of money and have to figure it out the hard way? So if it is that they're going to have to figure it out the hard way, perhaps instead of just resisting, you're kind of building up ego and making them less likely to hear your point of view. Maybe it's better to let them just sort of like do what they want to do and figure it out for themselves, right? So advice card here is this Emperor in the reverse. And I'm taking this with two possible meanings in this situation. One is the person that you're arguing with may be somebody who is in a position of authority above you, and so they're kind of using that authority to override your knowledge or mastery of the situation. So it's like, well, I know better than you, but you're in a position of power over me, so you don't have to listen to what I say. And that could be very frustrating. So that's one possible way of interpreting what's going on here. But the other way of interpreting it here is that you may feel as though you are the master in the situation. You have the authority. And so you're kind of unduly imposing that on the other person because you feel like you have such a commanding knowledge. And if that's the case, you may be right. Like I said, you may actually have the right answer, but it may not be your place to force others to listen to you. It may be a situation where they really need to learn something on their own, so you may not want to be quite so forceful or domineering in the situation. You might want to give people the opportunity to fail for their own benefit even. So that's pretty much it for that first pile. I thought that was pretty cool. Let me know what you think in the comments. And we're going to go ahead and move on. So now let's move on to pile number 2. This is the Onyx Crow or Raven. So if you chose pile number 2, you have the Knight of Wands, crossed by the Devil, and advice is the High Priestess. Of course it is. Okay, so in this situation, the Knight of Wands indicates somebody who's like a real doer. This is somebody who is not really hesitant. They're just kind of jumping right in. They are kind of like a shoot first, ask questions later type of person. So sometimes there can be some mistakes that this person makes. But it's kind of like you took the original idea that you had and like now you're kind of going for it full force, but you're not skilled enough yet to avoid like making missteps or to avoid stepping on toes or hurting people in the process potentially. So there can be a little bit of hard or rough patch that comes with this, even though you've kind of like freed up your hesitation and you're really moving forward in a fast way. Sometimes you're a little bit clunky or clumsy with how you push things forward. So some things don't exactly go off without a hitch all the time. So it can also be a little bit too quick. It could be a little bit impatient or restless. And that's going to be amplified here by the Devil, which is sort of the temptation to take shortcuts and to take the quick path instead of like formulating a clear and strong foundation for whatever you're working on here. So this can be like pulled or your strings are being pulled a little bit by the puppet master here, which indicates like desire. So whatever you're wanting to do, you're wanting to do it so bad that sometimes you're getting a little bit careless in the decisions you make, and it's kind of pushing you off course some. Now, that's kind of the difficulty in this situation. So I wouldn't say to like completely arrest your momentum and to stop trying to move forward or stop trying to push forward. But what the advice card here is your High Priestess. So this is the most intuitive character in the deck. So this is somebody listening to her intuition very, very deeply. She's kind of like the gatekeeper of the intuition. She represents the veil between the conscious and the unconscious itself. So this is saying to not necessarily slow down, but learn to stop kind of listening to your conscious mind quite so much and follow your intuition a little bit. Feel a situation out instead of just like thinking or going from idea to idea really quickly. Feel the situation out and ask yourself, can you take a little bit of time here to meditate on things, to just be a little bit more deliberate in your actions, and to kind of reconnect with the reason that you want to do things, and a feeling of, so the magician, the number one, and the High Priestess kind of correspond to each other. The magician is kind of like how he knows all the secrets about how the conscious mind works, and the High Priestess knows all the secrets about how the subconscious mind works. So this is asking you to reconnect with the subconscious aspects of what's going on in your life. So in other words, what needs are you fulfilling? What are you getting in kind of like the context of your whole life? What are you getting from what you are engaged in? And if you kind of reconnect with that purpose and that focus, it will guide your actions to be a little bit more sure-footed, a little bit more accurate, and you won't make quite as many mistakes. Whereas if you're kind of more focused on immediate desires that are a little bit more, short-term, I want to go have some fun with some people, or I want to go, have some fancy car or something like that. Those are more like short-term desires, and they don't really address, the broader questions of like, how are you going to feel when you're 80? You know what I mean? Like, where are you going to end up? And will you have felt at that point that you've lived a good life, that you had made choices that led you to feel fulfilled and satisfied and all those things. So this is asking you to sort of connect more with like the purpose of life a little bit and what drives you. Okay, so that's about it for card number 2 with the crow. So now we're going to move on to card number 3 with the Celestite or Celestite. Really pretty stone here. Love this one. This is one of the first crystals I got, actually. But it has a tendency to kind of fall apart. So, yeah, speak of the devil. So if you picked card number 3, oh, look at that. You got the Magician. And crossing you is this King of Coins, which is understandable. And then you have the Page of Wands for your advice. Okay, so I was just talking about the High Priestess being the kind of the one who holds all the secrets of the subconscious. On the other hand, here is the Magician, who is he knows exactly how the conscious mind works, and he knows how to manifest his will into the physical world, and he's a pro at that. So it's like almost as if whatever he thinks happens. He's a visionary. He's a really, really powerful individual. However, he can sometimes it can sometimes be a little bit scary to like a normal person, because a normal person is, and when I say normal, I'd say your average person, is very tugged in all sorts of directions by various desires. It's like if every thought you had was like a request, for something to happen in your life. You know, you think, oh, I'd like to have a good meal for lunch, and I'd like to have a good chat with my boss, and I would like for him to like me, and then I would like for this girl over here to show me some positive attention, or I'd like for that guy to ask me out on a date. You know, there's like this endless stream of thoughts constantly flowing that are like, you know, if you believe in the law of attraction, the universe is trying to fulfill your order, but you change it constantly before you ever get anything that you're focused on. And so the magician doesn't really do this. He stays incredibly focused on whatever it is that he's attempting to manifest, and it's almost as if he like has almost a robotic feel to him at times, to where he can completely block all of those sort of lower impulses out, and he's just a manifestation machine. He's completely focused on the next task in a way. And by doing that, it's like it can be quite magical. You watch some people who have incredible skills doing anything, you know, and it's really impressive to watch. And really the secret to it is just to kind of get rid of everything else that's in your mind except for the one thing that you're focusing on. This is a little bit of a Zen master here. And so this is the energy that you have the potential for. This is the energy that you could be working with a little bit. And, you know, it's not for everybody, but if this is something that you're interested in, it seems like, you know, you have some ideas, obviously, that you want manifested. You have some feelings about how the world ought to be or how your life ought to be. And you're going down this road, at least, of manifestation. And if you're not, it's a really, really great time to get into that mode. But what's going to be crossing you here, or what the difficulty is this King of Coins. So King of Coins is a master of the financial, of the material realm. So what this is meaning is you may have these really great ideas and some plans even on how to manifest them into the world, but the chief difficulty here is making it a material reality through like finances and things like that. So what that can mean is, like, let's say you have a project, you want to open up some particular kind of store or something like that, but you don't really have the money to buy the place to begin with. So what's going to be the distraction here, or the difficulty, is can you completely take your focus off of the end goal, like the store, right, and completely put your focus into the means to achieving that store, which may be like saving up the money in order to buy the property, or something like to that effect. So in other words, the challenge here is the magician tends to want to focus on exactly the end goal of what he's trying to manifest. But with the King of Coins being the challenging energy here, it's going to be a struggle to kind of focus fully on the next step in the process. So you're going to have to kind of break the situation down into, okay, what is the absolute next baby step thing that has to fall into place in order to move forward in this endeavor? And that's what you have to focus on completely, not switching back and forth between focusing on that and then focusing on the end goal. But it is to completely stay focused on what is the current goal. What am I doing right now? So advice card, or what's going to help you out here, is this Page of Wands. So Page of Wands is very enthusiastic. This is the start of something new, or a new beginning, and he's getting ready to take off and everything, but he's still not moving yet. So there's some things that need to happen here before you can really take action. And I think that goes back to what I was saying with this King of Coins. There is definitely some preparation or some intermediary steps that have to occur before you can see the fulfillment of your dreams. So it may on the outside look like the magician just snaps his fingers and it's done, but there in reality is, and in the realm of the conscious reality, there is groundwork that has to be done. There's sort of like maintenance or conditioning of the environment or of the reality that you're a part of that has to be done in order to make your dreams come true. So in other words, like let's say I'm trying to grow a plant. I want to grow some tomatoes, right? Well, the tomatoes just don't appear overnight, right? You have to grow them from seeds. And the seeds don't just grow by themselves. I mean, I guess in a fairy tale they may, but in reality, I have to put them in soil. And if I don't put them in soil, if I skip that step, I'm not going to have a lot of success, right? Or I guess you could go hydroponic, but that's not the point. The point is that there is a sequence of things, and there is a sort of material formula for making anything that you want occur. And so you have to learn how to zero in on what exactly is the thing standing in the way of me taking a step forward toward what I'm trying to manifest. So that's a really cool in-depth one there. Love that one, actually. That's the best one I've had in a while. So if you enjoyed, please leave me a comment, like the video, and subscribe for more of these daily readings every day. And let me know what you think. And until next time, this is Dr. Shiny.